Indianapolis has done a pretty good job of that over the years. And of course, the intensity of the population, I suppose if a tornado went through downtown Chicago or downtown Indianapolis, it would be one thing. But this has hit.
Boats washed ashore, people living in tents, and tsunami survivors in mourning.
I found 3 or 4 bodies. Their house is totally destroyed. I can see the floor only at the time.
That's one reason we went. The tsunami will be one of the biggest stories of our lifetime, along with the story now of rebuilding. This is another reason we went, because the Colts and the Pacers each raised over $100,000 for the United Nations World Food Program.
I am a little bit proud, more than a little bit.
He's the third reason we went. Jim Morris is the executive director of the World Food Program. The WFP is the world's largest humanitarian agency with a crucial role in the tsunami recovery.
It is extraordinary the way the world community has come together to provide resources.
Jim Morris is an Indianapolis native now based in Rome, but he spent much of his time lately on the road inspecting the tsunami region.
WFP Myanmar.
In this room at the WFP headquarters, the World Food Program directs its part of the relief effort.
They've also been hit very badly.
We joined Morris for his first tour of the damage in Sri Lanka, an island off the southern tip of India. A chartered helicopter carries us to the Gaul district, a tourist region in southern Sri Lanka. From here, we see where the water crushed trees as easily as we leave tracks in snow.
It's disastrous, catastrophic.
On the ground, we follow the trail of destruction.
And the devastation that you can see here, the rubble, it will take a long time to get it put back to normal.
But they are trying to get back.
To see the Sri Lankan people rebuilding homes already, mixing cement, cleaning up, it's quite impressive.
Yet in such a poor country, it's sometimes hard to know where the destruction ends and destitution begins. That's why the WFP's here and has been since 1968.
We were feeding in our normal programs over the course of a year maybe 300,000 people. Now we need to feed upwards of 800,000 people every day for 6 months at least.
Mike Staten, the WFP's chief of staff and another Indianapolis native, says what's being done here is still not one of the organization's bigger programs.
1.5 million people is the number of people we're feeding in northern Uganda or in Congo. We're feeding 4 times that in North Korea, in southern Africa.
Now donations represent the new power of the tsunami.
The people in Indianapolis have been extraordinarily generous.
And what Morris sees here, he sees in country after country.
In Indianapolis, we live a wonderful life. I'm proud of that, happy for that, grateful for that. Trying to understand why, especially children elsewhere in the world, struggle so much and have so much at risk when kids elsewhere around the world don't understand that and don't have that problem.
That's why in April, the World Food Program asked President Bush's niece, Lauren Bush, to be its ambassador to college and high school students. She also visited Sri Lankan refugee camps over the weekend.
It wasn't people just looking for handouts. Like, these are people who don't like the camps, you know? They want to get out and reestablish themselves.
The World Food Program helps make that possible in Sri Lanka and around the world.
If there's one thing people around the world agree on, it's that children should not be hungry and have a chance to go to school.
Morris knows that raising money for that work will be harder after the tsunami slips off the front page, but he will keep traveling to places like this to keep the support coming, because he knows the need won't fade away the way our memories do. I'm Eric Halverson in Sri Lanka following the UN tsunami relief effort. An Indianapolis man leads part of that recovery effort, and we're there to find out how your donations are helping. This is our destination on day 2, on a journey north to a place called Kilinochchi. This part of the journey was more challenging than the last because there is civil war in this part of Sri Lanka, and as a result they had to use a significant amount of diplomacy just to get here. And we were doing something the United Nations Kofi Annan couldn't by heading to the capital of the rebel region. They're known as the Tamil Tigers.
There's been a decades-long war that's been going on here between the Tamil Tigers and the government. It's essentially over resources and access to education and other sort of opportunity in Sri Lanka.
Jim Morris of Indianapolis, the executive director of the UN's World Food Program, wanted to meet with a leader of the rebels. At first, the Sri Lankan military objected to providing the helicopter for the WFP mission for security reasons.
I clearly wouldn't want to have my staff colleagues working in a place that was unsafe for them, or if it's too unsafe for me to visit, it's not safe for them.
The government relented, and we entered Tamil territory at treetop level, soon learning that the security concerns were valid. In the background, they're saying flare to calm the cabin. We had just seen an orange glow and felt intense heat. They told us the helicopter had registered a radar lock and launched flares as a diversion in case the radar meant someone on the ground planned to fire a missile at us.
We work in a lot of very tough environments.
After landing, the police moved us quickly to an escorted convoy that carried us to a Tamil office.
Their blessing, their support for our ability to do our work here is important.
Kilinochchi provides a powerful example of Sri Lankan poverty. That's why the WFP was here years before the tsunami. Some of the tsunami victims will stay in Kilinochchi until they go the 60 miles or so back to their homes on the coast, if they choose to return to their old lives.
Most of my relatives are fishing family. They have to go back to their sea. This is a sea gave life for their family for more than centuries. So they have to rely on in the sea. So they have to go back. They have to get fishing nets and boats and go to fishing again.
Some analysts, maybe too hopefully, say the tsunami recovery could ease the tensions between the rebels and the government because both need to serve the victims. And the government says because the waves took much of the Tamil Tigers' weaponry.